I have been gone from Everstoke for more than 3 weeks, and it's time to face the music. I am very, very nervous to see what is going on because the day after I left, all my cameras, all my sensors, all my information went dark. The power went out, and as far as I know, it never came back on, which is not good for many, many different bits and pieces of the infrastructure. So once again, winter is harsh, the short days with the solar panels. Holy moly. Okay, let's go see what's going on.
I hope there's not poop everywhere from the sewage pipes.
That would be not good, definitely.
I brought 3 pairs of gloves. I don't want to have cold fingers.
All right, the first thing that is very disconcerting, this is spraying out like crazy. This is not supposed to have any kind of pressure on it. Okay, first crisis averted. Oh man, you probably can't see this, but there's like chocolate milk coming out of this. That's not good. That's not good for the water system because this stuff backs up into here. I thought I had this on enough of a slope where everything would come down. All right, that's for figuring out later. Let's actually see if we have power. Oh yeah, okay, so we have power. We are at 53% on the battery, which is fantastic. All right, let's get to troubleshooting why we don't have internet. So the first thing I'm really happy about is that none of that water was backing up into the well house. With all the pressure coming out of that pipe like that, I really expected this to be fully puddled up. Second thing, there's no bursted pipes or any standing water that I can see, so we have survived. Ooh, I'm in my spooky light. So there's a lot more to talk about with the power system, but we were just gonna have a little bite to eat before I got to the rest of that. Came back to the old trailer, and I have no idea where the key is. I have locked us out. We had a little hide a key thing. It wasn't in there. I am completely befuddled. This is our first time being away long enough and then coming back, and I have no idea where the key is. I had my dad's truck at the time, so maybe it's in the truck somewhere. It's not on his key ring. So we're gonna try a couple methods to bust into the joint. Okay, so I don't think the deadbolt is engaged, and in one of the videos I saw, a guy just took a hammer and popped this out. So, oh, I think I got it. Nope. Yep.
Ah, nice.
Easy. Anybody, just come on up to Everstoke. Crisis averted. Now we're gonna replace this whole thing with a smart lock.
Lesson number 1: you can break into anyone's trailer.
Okay, we've got power in the RV, and this is the first time we've gone away and come back. So I blew all the water out with air, and hopefully we're gonna get everything turned back on and it's gonna work. The power is on, this is on, we're good. Oh yeah, first thing I gotta do, turn the PlayStation on so I can get the updates for Fortnite so I can play with my brother. So I just turned on the water and we have water pressure. We should not have any water pressure. I turned everything off, I drained everything. I blew air through the lines. I don't know why we have water pressure.
I'm a little scared now. I have PTSD, but I tested it with Brian inside. And I think it's gonna work. Let's see. Phew!
I'm gonna go out on a little hike in the woods and collect all the game camera cards and give you a little update on the animals around Everstoke while I talk about the best electrolyte drink mix in the business. It's Element, the fine sponsor of today's video. The Element mission is to restore health through hydration. If you don't have your electrolytes dialed in, you're gonna get headaches and cramps. You're gonna have that general tiredness that we all hate. Element checks all the boxes for me. Tastes fantastic, doesn't have a pound of sugar, keeps me fired up through a ride, but doesn't make me jittery like all that caffeine stuff, and it never messes with my stomach. The Element thesis is out with sugar and in with salt. They believe that most people, especially active people that get out and sweat a lot, need more salt in their diet to feel good and perform their best. 1 packet of Element in a water bottle is a perfect way to give your body the sodium, potassium, and magnesium that it needs. And an even better way, in my opinion, is through the Element sparkling water drinks. Have these before and after a ride as well. If you give Element a try, I really think you're gonna like it, but anything's possible, and they have a fantastic refund policy. Just shoot them an email. If you don't like it, you don't have to send the product back. You are taking 0 risk on your first taste of Element. So head on over to drinkelement.com/BKXC, whether it's your first order or your 500th, use my link and you're gonna get a free 8-pack sample pack. You can try some different flavors. You can share them out with a friend. I hope you're still staying active through this winter, and if you are, you still got to get your electrolytes dialed in. Do it with Element. Head on over to drinklmnt.com/BKXC. So it's the next morning now. It is a beautiful 16 degrees. Holy moly. Everything in the trailer seemed good to go. The power, the water pressure, the water heater, the heater inside the cabin, everything is solid. That's a relief. We're back up and running pretty easily. I'm still a little bit muffed and confused about the water pressure, the magical water pressure that happened inside the trailer. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments what that could have been. So now I've got to go back into the well house and fix the original problem that I was working on, which is that I have a couple different portable power stations located strategically around here, because when I was working on the power all the time, I'd switch the power off, switch the power on, switch the power off. And I could have a portable power station in between so everything just wouldn't flash off every time I was working on the power. The problem with every single portable power station I've ever encountered is in an off-grid, unmonitored, trying to set it and forget it situation, they just don't work. You have to come back in after all the power's been drained, and when the power comes back and the battery gets charged back up, you have to physically turn on the output. You have to go in there, push a button. Well, there usually is a way to do it in the app, but if you don't have power, you don't have internet, I can't do it from back at home. I really wish these companies would have a setting on their portable power stations where if the power goes down to 0, but then gets recharged back up to 10% or 20%, turn on the outputs, get the power back running. So the solution is, don't ever run out of power. That's the solution, and that's what we have struggled the most out here with. So I thought I had everything squared away with my backup generator here, which is actually tied in to my Home Assistant smart automations. If the big battery drops below 18%, turn on the generator, charge the big battery back up, which is great for the short winter days like right now, where most of the time we have enough power, it gets through, but if there's a couple cloudy days, I need a little bit of supplemental juice. So of course there's always some wrinkle when it comes to a backup generator. We've had this one for almost 3 years now, and it's finally time to replace the 12-volt battery. All my automation stuff was not working, and I think this is going to be the solution. It's so funny how the 12-volt battery is still one of the biggest problems when you know your car is dead and you need to jump it. Even the fancy electric cars, the #1 issue I see in the forums and on Reddit is the 12-volt battery dying. we're still ruled by these dumb 12-volt batteries. So the way this is supposed to work is you hit this button and the generator turns on. But right now there's not even enough power to turn over. Before it was actually turning over and making a weird noise. I've spent so much time and energy recharging this 12-volt battery when I should have just been rebuying a new one. I have to take this wheel off to be able to get the battery out. Okay, old battery's out, new battery's in. If I turn this on, if I push this button, we're good to go, no problems. It's a little cold, so it might take a second. And it's not very level. Maybe I'll put the wheel back. Fantastic. That is a huge weight off my shoulders. We can have our supplemental power again. So I'm hoping this is pretty self-sufficient. Fill it up with gas, leave it alone, and I can check on what's happening remotely. But that's what the plan was for the last 3 weeks when the power went out and I wasn't able to check on anything. And without getting too technical, when the generator turns on, I have a cable that's plugged into this thing called the EG4 chargeverter. It turns the dirty generator power into clean DC power, and that feeds directly into my big ol' EG4 ESS battery. The good thing is, by the time this video comes out, we will be on the other side of the shortest day of the year. So every day, the solar will get stronger and stronger and stronger, even though we have more chance of snow and storms and cloudy days. In addition to all the electronic heating elements that I use to try to keep the pipes from bursting, I also have this kind of interesting thing called the freeze miser, which is all mechanical. It senses when the temperature gets below freezing and it lets out just a little tiny drip of water, and it piles up in a little ice thing down here, but I think this is also really helping to keep the water moving and stop it from freezing internally. The one problem, it does cause quite a ice shelf down here. That sun is amazing. It just went from 16 degrees to 26 degrees in the blink of an eye. Moving on to some other to-dos, we've had a couple trees get bigger and bigger and bigger over the past couple years, encroaching on our road. So whenever someone with like a bigger truck or a delivery comes, they kind of have to watch out for these things. And they're pretty small trees, so I'm gonna take a few down. Haven't done this in a while, better Google it. All right. Now what do I do? The next big project that I'm finally getting finished is this pretty nice skirting all around the RV. Me and my dad decided to overbuild this and actually put nice siding on it, get it all as level and plumb as we can, and I think it turned out pretty good. The purpose of the skirting is to keep the underbelly a little more warm, block out the wind and the rain, keep everything dry underneath. I can have a little more storage as well. Just got to fill in some gaps here, put a coat of paint on it, and it will be pretty good to go. The problem with building on dirt that freezes and thaws is there's a little bit of movement happening, and I've already got kind of a hard, opening this thing up is not doing too good. So maybe I could take a sledgehammer and beat it down a little bit. The problem with making a nice warm space underneath the trailer is that the critters are probably going to start trying to make it their home. So I'm going to do my best to block everything out, keep it lit up underneath there, maybe put a camera underneath to see if there's any activity. But I think it'll be pretty easy to see if something starts trying to dig underneath. That happened with my brother's shed at his house, and you could tell pretty easily that there was an animal living underneath. And yeah, the whole thing's framed out with 2x4s, 2x6s, some foam board, and some spray foam. One of the good little lessons that I got from the comments was people saying you can't have the septic open all the time. it piles up in weird ways. You gotta have it closed up, and then you still have to manually dump it. And that's what I've been doing, and that's been working out better. We definitely had a piling issue. I had to use a stick to get stuff going. It's a little annoying to come in here and have to pull the lever, especially since the gray water lever is over here and it's a lot harder to get to. So I crawled underneath the trailer to fix a few things, and I'm very happy to report the temperature under here is perfect. It's really nice. It's 18 degrees on the outside, so the skirting is definitely holding the heat just like I intended. But I can definitely see some light coming through. That's my little door hatch right there. Maybe I can add a little weather stripping to stop that. Or maybe I should just leave it and allow for a little airflow under a space like this that can get a little moist. I'm on to the last piece of the puzzle, and this is going to be quite puzzling. Force it. Yes. Oh my goodness, that was a battle for the ages, and I can tell that my measurement was off by an inch or a half inch here. We're gonna zip it up, we're gonna spray foam it, we're gonna paint it, it's gonna all be fine. Well, look what I got in the mail today. A replacement smart lock for the RV, and I'm hoping it's gonna fit. It said it was pretty universal, so we shall see. Can't use a little hammer to open this thing. Oh, how do I get outside? How do I open the door? Okay, it's pretty easy to take off the old lock, put on the new one. The miracle of all, I haven't dropped a single screw during this install. You drop a screw right now, everything's all muddy and snowy, you can't ever find it. Let's see, final screw. Got him. I'm locked out. All right, let's turn it on and get the secret code going. All right, I got this thing up and running. It's still a little weird though. It feels like the batteries aren't very secure in there. When I was first testing it, it just went dark and wouldn't turn on. I had to open everything up, put it back in, dropped a screw. Still didn't find it, but I could use one of the screws from the old one. I'm gonna keep the keys as a backup in the hidden lockbox, and then we'll have our secret code as well. I feel like this was a huge win. We have survived the first round of winter. This is just the beginning, of course. We got many, many more weeks and months to go, but I'm feeling pretty solid. Feeling out of breath too. Geez, that was just a little tiny hike. I've got a lot more fun ideas for our little empire of dirt out here. Hope you stick around, but until then, do me a favor. Go ride something new, and maybe I'll see you on the trail.